Today we're going to talk about cowboys and Indians. It's like the charge of the Light Brigade, isn't it? Once again we have a new Prime Minister. Once again nothing will change. And the country might become so angry and despondent that they vote a new government into power. But even a new government won't be able to change the way in which policy is settled in this country. I have seen in the Palace of Westminster the Vote Office, and they have a long desk with two piles of paper on it. And one pile contains the Acts of Parliament passed by our elected Parliament in that year. And we pass, 10 or 20 Acts of Parliament a year, something like that. And the other pile contains the statutory instruments, which are passed by the civil service, usually in that week. The number of statutory instruments we pass has risen hyperbolically since the millennium. We pass, by bulk and by verbiage, the laws passed in this country are overwhelmingly passed by the civil service. Now, they're passed under the authority of an enabling act. So there is a democratic act of parliament that says we allow the civil service to fine-tune the laws by passing smaller laws. So that's how statutory instruments tend to come about. But also there are other sources of law. We have to comply with the judiciary, obviously. So foreign and domestic courts can tell us what to do. And until recently, the European Union could basically for statutory instruments to be passed. And people have made honest attempts to quantify how much of the law is passed in one place or another. So for a long time it was said, 20% of the laws in this country are passed in Brussels. And people would say, no, it's 60%. But how do you measure something like that? I mean, I submit to you, if a bank is honest in 99% of its transactions, but occasionally, just when it really needs to, it's dishonest because it really just has to save its skin. So in 1% of its transactions, it's sort of, fiddled its books or whatever. Would you say that that bank is 99% honest? I would say it's 100% dishonest. I would say you can't quantify a veto. If a foreign or domestic court, or if another legislative body can tell our parliament occasionally what to do, then we live in a 0% democracy. It is not working as advertised. Now, the people we vote for, the members of parliament, are mostly what we call backbenchers. They don't actually sit on the government bench at the front. And it is possible for backbenchers to move a bill, which is like an embryonic act of parliament. And very, very occasionally, a backbench bill does get passed into law, but it's incredibly rare. So almost everything which comes from Parliament has to come with the explicit approval of the front benches, of the ministers' benches. And the ministers, of course, have daily meetings with their civil service. And if they are told that some of their policy is going to be a little bit difficult to pass because actually there are these bylaws and these little statutory instruments or God knows what, which will throw a spanner in the works, no minister wants to rock the boat. And these people are driven by the desire for political office. So you're not going to fix this problem. There's no democratic solution to it at all. Now, I'm not saying that we are badly governed. As a matter of fact, almost everywhere in the world behaves in a similar way. But I am saying that it's not going to make any difference whether Keir Starmer's in charge or Boris Johnson's in charge or Rishi Sunak or whatever. It's not going to make any difference. So we can all chillax.